I just don't want to be around that.
$1 trillion is exchanging hands every day.
Yep.
And when a dollar's spent, it's not the end of the dollar. It gets to be spent again. And so think of this. If we choose to go with what's cheapest and what's the least valuable, we vote with our dollar for a more mediocre society. We slow down the exchange because less dollars exchange hands. And what if our vote was for excellence in ourselves and others?
Highest level.
We would accelerate velocity.
GDP.
Exchange would create wealth. Output or GDP would go up. And we wouldn't have to print more money to manipulate all this bullshit all the time. We all have a responsibility for our own prosperity, and anytime we think we're not responsible for it, then we're relegated to the low common denominator. Like, one thing I know for sure is budgeting doesn't work long term.
Yeah.
Budgeting, it just doesn't. Like one time I was hanging out with you and you're like, hey, dude, are you getting enough protein in? Because, you know, you and your macros. And I was like, it's just a shift to think about getting enough protein versus restricting calories. Restricting calories feels like scarcity, and then I end up wanting more, where getting enough protein feels like more my style of expansion, and just a little switch like that can make all the difference.
And
but
when you front load your proteins, then you can fill in the calories later and you're fine.
And the reality, our biggest issue around health isn't calories, it's processed food that our body doesn't recognize. So it's not that we're actually eating a lot more calories, we're eating calories our body cannot digest, which creates obesity, right? And we're sedentary and all these other things. And by the way, you know, you were sick once, and I'm like, how you doing? You're like, well, me being sick is still probably much higher energy than most of the population. You know, you arrogant prick. That? Yeah, but it's fine. But what I mean,
it's true.
But it's true because you make choices.
Yeah.
And most people's choice in their mind is, I don't have enough, I'm scarce, I've got to conserve, I've got to reduce. It's all related to how they view money, how they view health, and how they view relationships from a place of scarcity, and it destroys everything. Not that I have any opinion or passion about it.
It's cool, dude. It's like, I think that would be like the last phase of my relationship with money is really about, you know, the words, the energy, the time, even just like who I model, right? Like I know myself. I'm a big, the number one thing that I can do for progress for me is proximity to people that have achieved a thing.
Right.
I mean, if you look at my trainer, Alan, he's 250 pounds, Mr. Olympia. So he trains me.
Shredded.
It's ridiculous.
Muscly.
Yeah. Just, it's literally Superman manifested in real human. And that proximity for me works really well.
I mean, for humor, you spend time with me.
Yeah, I want to laugh more. I hang out with Garrett. Yeah, we just giggle after ourselves. But I think like once you know that, then it's like optimized for it, right? Like that's like when you say like, what does money mean to me? Money means designing my life. Like literally designing, you know this, like I'm very intentional about my year and the energy flows throughout the year, the week, what do I do in the mornings versus the afternoons? Yeah. Like I don't control the experience of time. That's probably a better way to frame it. But I can control the energy of the experience. Like, and that's what I'm always thinking to myself, like, I'm going to go do something. Like even training. I saw my buddy Brandon the other day. He did a reel, and he said, hey, when I train, I smile. And I forgot that because I used to smile when I raced an Ironman. And now when I went to the gym, I literally was trying to smile. In the thick of the pain, in full exhaustion, in full muscle fatigue, I tried to smile because he said the smiling makes the reps funner. And so it's like, it's all these little things when I think of like, how does the money work? Well, the money allows me to invest in things that'll make it funner.
And you also like, I think that's key is you value yourself, and you also know that if people don't pay for something, don't pay attention to it. So that combination of you valuing yourself and what you offer and having people value themselves enough to make the investment. Even I'm your friend and I make the investment to be an elite.
Yep.
Right? You invest in me to come speak at your event.
Totally.
We exchange money because it's just it's the way that we acknowledge each other.
There's an energetic component of it. I mean, if we just think about the idea of like, if somebody's going to come and work with me, you know, would I want them to pay a little bit free, or do I want them to pay a lot? The person that's paid a lot relative to them
gets the result.
And the energy, dude, they come ready to go. The student, they prep. Dude, some people, before they ever come here, 60 days prior, they buy. They show up 15 pounds lighter,
right?
Organized, because they were like, I didn't want to waste my time. The person that I invite for free, they literally roll in here, sloppy face, not prepared, energy's poopy. Like, I feel it. I just don't want to be around that.
$1 trillion is exchanging hands every day.
Yep.
And when $1's spent, it's not the end of the dollar. It gets to be spent again. And so think of this. If we choose to go with what's cheapest and what's the least valuable, we vote with our dollar for a more mediocre society. We slow down the exchange because less dollars exchange hands. And what if our vote was for excellence in ourselves and others?
Highest level.
We would accelerate velocity.
GDP.
Exchange would create wealth. Output or GDP would go up. And we wouldn't have to print more money to manipulate all this bullshit all the time, right? I mean, I hope people can understand the depth of what I'm saying here.
Bigger than them.
Right? It's if we're all one, we're all, one energy, where if what I do to you, I do to myself, if we're all coming from the same place and going back to the same place, if I'm trying to get something from you for nothing, I'm actually devaluing myself and you, slowing down the velocity, lowering the exchange, delaying the lesson, and voting for a shitty world.
No pressure, people. You know what's funny? You just reminded me last year when you spoke at my Empire Builder, I immediately added to my list to talk to Ann about. I never told you this. I have been a points hoarder.
Like,
dude, I have millions of
for hotels, for flights.
Oh, everything. Points, millions. And I told Ann, all goes. We gotta spend it. We hired a guy, Eli. He's our points guy, and I said, because I feel like I was constraining the economy. What am I doing? Because I'm like, ooh, look, 13 million points. Who cares? What am I doing with that?
What do? You get a private jet, bro.
Dude, it was so weird that I was not. Again, even at my level, there was this little sliver of my life
that came from childhood somewhere.
100%.
Remember the second time I spoke at Empire Builder, I don't know if I had said this. I said, the story of our money is merely the story of our childhood pain and trauma that we've yet to face and process.
You said that.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's
in
like
Laguna. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, because that's the deal.
So, dude, I'm Dan the point user man. That's like 2024. We're trying, and I said, let's deplete and replenish. Let's deplete, let's just, use it for our friends, use it for stuff. Just, what are we doing here?
People hoard the miles on their cars. They hoard the, things in their house. There's what good is something without utility?
Yeah.
Like when I had my Bentley.
That's a good frame. What's good something without utility?
Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And if you're enjoying these videos, well, there's good news. More where that came from. So go ahead and click through and watch the next video now.